Let's get into this weekend's NFL best bets and picks. As usual, I'm going to target 4 different games for this week's, if you want to call it, super same game parlay. Now, you won't be able to make all of these bets at every sports book, but you can at a place like Bet365, as they have a wide range of different props to choose from for every single game. You can also make slightly different versions of these bets at some other sports books as well. If you look at Bet365 right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets or first bet safety net up to $1,000 in bonus bets as well. You can check that out at signupexpert.com/shred-the-spread/bet365 or see all of the promos at different sports books, signupexpert.com/shred-the-spread. I'll share that link down there in the comments. So let's get into this week's bets. If you want more different sports bets, be sure to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. There's also more bets in the members only section as well. Chiefs and Panthers kick this off for me. This should be the free square on the bingo card. I'm sure it'll be the most popular if you can still use them. Survivor bet or moneyline bet this week. The 9-1 Chiefs playing the 3-7 Panthers. KC had a 15-game winning streak going until last week's 30-21 loss to Buffalo. It's likely bad news for the Panthers, who are always going to be massive underdogs here. Maybe the Chiefs would have looked past them. They still might, but after a rare loss, you would think they'll come back focused here. At 11 points, the Chiefs versus Panthers spread. Certainly won't be betting that. The Chiefs rarely win big. Mahomes has a losing record. ATS is a favorite. He's never won as a road double-digit favorite in his career. Now, Carolina's Chuba Hubbard, 4th in rushing yards this season, so the run game is likely to be leaned on. Surely he could be a good prop bet. But then the Chiefs are 3rd against the run, which could counteract that. Could be worth targeting some tight end props in this game for either team. The Panthers have given up the joint most touchdowns to opposing tight ends, 7, alongside the Bengals and the Raiders. They've also given up the 10th most yards to tight ends as well. Certainly Travis Kelce props could be an option here. The Chiefs are actually much worse, allowing the 2nd most catches and the most yards to tight ends. But then Carolina barely uses their tight ends, with Javion Sanders leading the position, averaging just 2.6 catches per game. All that said, I just want to throw the Chiefs money line into this parlay and not get too crazy. Moving on, Cowboys and Commanders. Dallas has allowed, starting from week 1 till now, point totals 17, 44, 28, 15, 17, 47, 30, 27, 34, and then 34 again on Monday Night Football in a 34-10 loss to Houston. Now, the 17, 15, and 17 came against the Browns, Giants, and Steelers, so those lower point totals they allowed, all against some weaker offenses earlier on in the season. Meanwhile, the Commanders have scored 20, 21, 38, 42, 34, 23, 40, 18, 27, 27, and 18 points. So they've hit the 20 mark of points in 9 of 11 games. Now, one of those did come, one of the times where they didn't, in a 26-18 loss to Philly. But that was last Thursday. That will give them a ton of extra rest here, having played last Thursday, whereas Dallas is coming off of Monday Night Football. Cowboys are littered with injuries right now coming out of that game. As of Friday, they have 3 defensive starters who are questionable, 5 on the offense as well, including wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, and also tight end Jake Ferguson, who left that game on Monday with a concussion. Washington, big 10-point favorites here on the spread, the first time since 2000. They're double-digit favorites over Dallas. Now, instead of betting that, I'm just going to bet them to score over 19.5 points. Dallas smashed them 45-10, 38-10 last season. This should be a good spot, though, for Washington to likely win, so certainly moneyline bets could be an option. But Dallas now, losers of 5 straight, and they're out Dak Prescott. Additionally, you could target some reception props here in the same game parlay for Commanders players. If we look at Terry McLaurin, he only had 1 catch last week, but he's caught multiple passes now in each of the previous 10 games and 4 more in 8 of 11. Also, at tight end, Zach Ertz, good option. Dallas has not given up a ton against opposing tight ends this season, but Ertz has 6 catches last week, 4 or more in 5 of 6, and multiple catches in 10 of 11. So for some simple selections for the same game parlay, we're going to throw McLaurin and Ertz in there to each have 2 or more catches versus the Texans. When the Cowboys played the Texans, 8 different players caught a pass against Dallas. 7 of them had multiple catches, including tight end Dalton Schultz, who led them all with 5. So Commanders over 19.5 points on the team total, paired with 2 or more catches for McLaurin and Ertz for game number 2, the game number 2 same game parlay. Then we'll move into the Lions and the Colts. It's been a streaky season for the Colts, starting 0-2, then going 4-1, followed by a winless 0-3, and then finally last week's narrow 28-27 last-minute win over the Jets. The Jets' offense ranks a woeful 26th in points per game, averaging just 18.5, and they were able to put up 27 against the Colts. could be a problem versus the league's top offense of the Lions, who were just steamrolling everybody, averaging 33.6 points per game. They just blasted the Jags 52-6. Jared Goff rebounded from a 5-interception game versus the Texans. He went 24 of 29, 412 yards, and 4 passing touchdowns. He even got some time off late in that game, as we saw Hendon Hooker get a few throws near the end of regulation as well. Goff has thrown now a touchdown pass in every game except one this season, and multiple touchdowns in 7 of the past 8 as well. Defensively, though, the Lions are seeing some injuries pile up. They now have lost play caller and middle linebacker Alex Anzalone. The main injury for the Colts, be left tackle Bernard Raymond, who looks set to miss out. Indy has already seen the Texans score, 29 on them, Steelers 24, Jaguars 37, Texans again with 23, Vikings 21, and also the Bills with 30, all putting up decent point totals against them. Now, Anthony Richardson had a good game last week, going 20-30, 272 yards, 1 touchdown. Still, he looks more like a runner most games than an elite passer, and the Lions do rank 5th against the run, which could counteract some of his running ability. Detroit is 41-15 ATS over the last 3 seasons. Still, something tells me this game just could be a little bit closer than it looks. Indy has seen 10 of 11 games decided by just 1 score. That is the most in the league. There's 16. Shane Steichen is 16, 11, and 1 ATS as well. So on the alternate spread, just in case we see the Lions should keep winning, but just in case there's an upset, Lions plus 4.5. So just likely don't get blown out. Lions over 1.5 touchdowns for the Lions, and if they're going to get at least a couple touchdowns, surely Goff will have at least 1 passing, so Goff plus 1 passing touchdown as well. So Goff to throw a touchdown, 2 or more Lions touchdowns, and Lions plus 4.5 in the same game parlay. I'll summarize all these picks at the end in a graphic as well. Finally, one more game to include here. Cardinals and Seahawks. The 5-5 Seahawks host the division, leading 6-4 Cardinals, who are fresh coming off of a bye. Seattle has not been a good ATS bet at home here since the beginning of last year. Geno Smith, just 3-10 ATS at home. That's the worst of anybody. And then this season, the Hawks are a woeful 1-5 ATS as a team of late as well. Both teams have healthy offenses, with only tight end Noah Fant questionable for Seattle. Wide receiver DK Metcalf returned last week, caught 7 of 9 passes for 70 yards versus the 49ers. Seattle has owned Arizona, winning 5 straight and 9 of 12. Last year, the scores were 20-10, 21-20, and Seattle hasn't scored fewer than 19 points versus Arizona in any of the last 5 wins. This season, though, Seattle has scored 20 or more points in every single game except for a 31-10 loss at Buffalo. They've also given up 20 or more points in 7 of 10 games. Arizona comes in winners of 4 straight. They've scored 31, 29, and 28 points in their last 3 games. The Cardinals have completely shut down their last 2 opponents, allowing just 6 and 9 points. Now, those did come against the Jets and the Bears, not exactly your top offensive teams here. 6 of 10 teams this season have scored 20 or more points against the Cardinals. So based on these stats, it's not unlikely that we see maybe each team scoring 20 points, and if we see each team getting to that area, likely they'll both get at least 2 touchdowns. So let's do the both teams to score over 1.5 touchdowns in this game. And we pair all of these together, we'll get plus 154 odds. There's a lot happening there, but they're all very realistic targets to hit. Like I said, I'll summarize these in the graphic. Check the graphic at the end. We've got 4 games coming in, plus 154 odds. What do you like for NFL Week 12? Straight bets, parlays, teasers, props. Let me know down there in the comments, and good luck.